as we get closer to June 21st, it stays brighter outside, and I like Shabbat, there's more Shabbat time, and when we have our service, it's still light outside. I think it's great. A month from tonight. What is a month from tonight? Passover, Pesach, 1 month from tonight. Get ready. I'm ready for you. So we are starting tonight.
I don't have their candle lighter yet, so I'm just
Let me help you.
So we're starting tonight with a beautiful Zmirah. Anybody know what the word Zmirot means? Zmirot are songs. And Zmirot, there are special Zmirot for Shabbat. There's actually a Seder, like Passover Seder in order. There is a Seder. So when you sit at your table, you're supposed to sing a whole host of Zmirot. Shalom Aleichem, Sur Mishalo Achalnu. No, Diana, that's Passover. We're not talking Passover. We're talking on Shabbat, yes. Yigdal, lots of different. And this one is written by my friend. That's actually a prayer. These are special songs for the table. But this one, Sur Mishalo Achalnu, is one of the great texts for Shabbat. And this particular one is written by my dear friend Cantor Mayor Finkelstein, who is now the cantor of Beth Yeshurun in Houston, Texas, but used to be the cantor of Sinai Temple here in Los Angeles. And he's written many things you probably know. L'dor Vador. He wrote that. Ve'al Kulam. Many things. And this is his Sur Mishalo Achalnu, which is so bright and happy and puts us in the Shabbat mood. So Whitney and I are going to sing this for you tonight.
משלו אכלנו ברכו אמוני, שבענו והותרנו כדבר אדוני. סור משלו אכלנו ברכו אמוני, שבענו והותרנו כדבר אדוני. חזן את עולמו, רואינו אבינו, הלכנו את לטו, ויהנו סתינו. על כן נודה לשמו ונהללו. חסדו גבר עלינו, אמת אדוני, ואמת אדוני. משלו אכלנו ברכו אמוני, שבענו והותרנו כדבר אדוני. סור משלו אכלנו ברכו אמוני, שבענו והותרנו כדבר אדוני. משיח אדוני, משיח אדוני. שבענו והותרנו כדבר אדוני, סור משלו אכלנו את אדוני. צור משלו אכלנו ברכו אמוני, שבענו והותרנו כדבר אדוני. צור משלו אכלנו ברכו אמוני, שבענו והותרנו כדבר
What did I just sing?
So that was like a Jewish mashup, right? It was a combination of a lot of different songs.
No, but that's good. It's good you were listening.
Because I was looking at Sor Mishalo.
Because the Siddur that we use left out the rest of it because it's actually very...
So you see, if you're ever in doubt, the lesson is ask, right? There's a great parable of a Nobel Prize winner whose, the story as it's told is he comes home every day after school and his mother says to him, did you ask a question? Did you ask a question? Not, did you get a good grade? Not, right, how was the teacher? But did you ask a question? And that, he credits that with his pursuit and success of, not pursuit, but his success that led to receiving the Nobel Prize. So you see, if in doubt in the Jewish tradition, ask. Had I not asked Cantor Lamb, I would have thought that was a Jewish mashup. But now I'm walking away knowing that it's a longer piyut, a longer, basically, it was written in the Middle Ages.
Yes.
I'm thinking, right?
Yes.
Mystical piyut, which is a sort of, how would you describe piyut? A pouring out of the soul?
Jewish poem has a certain meter to it. They were called a piyut, means a poem. Payatanim are the guys who wrote them, and they were written mostly in Spanish during the golden age of the Spanish Jewry.
And they reflect the faith and the mores of that particular century.
Yes.
With that, we turn to one that's even more ancient, Shalom Aleichem, one more familiar, I should say, to us, on page 24.
שלום עליכם מלאכי השרת, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. שלום עליכם מלאכי השרת, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלאכי המלאכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. שלום עליכם מלאכי השרת, שלום מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלכי המלאכים, הקדוש Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu le'adlik ner shel Shabbat. Shalom Aleichem Malachei Hasharet Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem Malachei Hasharet Malachei Elyon Mimelech Malchei HaMelachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem Malachei Hasharet
The prayer book takes us back and forth in time. You can be seated. And when we recite the prayers, we're brought forward to our century with modern melodies, to ancient prayers, then back into antiquity as we recite words written by the poets of centuries gone by. So L'cha Dodi is one of those poems that takes us back. It's on page 20 in your books. Takes us back to the 16th century in Tzfat. We were in Spain, now we're in Tzfat, moving back and forth in time. As you know, when we get to the 9th verse, please rise, face the doors, and bow to the left and to the right.
Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shem ultiveret v'litila echad odi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela echad odi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela likrat Shabbat lechu b'nei lecham ki mekor haberacha merosh mikedem nezucha sof ma'aseh machshavah techila likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela adodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela boi v'shalom ateret mala gam besimcha u'betzalom toch emunei am segulam boi chala boi chala echad odi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabela adodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat
Nekabela
28, Baruch Hu. Page. You doing it?
Yes.
Okay, go.
You'll find the text on page 30, the opening paragraph of the evening service. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro mariv aravim, asher bidvaro mariv aravim, bechokma poteach sharim, ubitfuna meshaneh itim, ומחליף את הזמנים, ומסדר את הכוכבים, במשמרותיהם ברקיע כרצונו. בורא יום ולילה, גולל אור מפני חושך, וחושך מפני אור. בורא יום ולילה, גולל אור מפני חושך, וחושך מפני אור. ומעביר יום ומביא לילה, ומבחיר בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו. אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני.
ברכו וברוך שמו.
Amariv, 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 Aravim.
The name of that prayer is Ma'ariv Aravim. And what it captures is that moment that's happening right now. As the sun sets and the first stars begin to appear in the sky, for the ancients, that was an awesome moment. As darkness fell, the world became closed in darkness, a euphemism not just for the inability to see one's hand in front of one's face, but also for the the evils and those things that are associated with blackness and darkness. And so this prayer was at once a welcoming of the night and the rest that comes with it, and also, as you see in the words, if you look in the bottom of the page, page 30, a recognition that light would come once again. So it's about the cycles of the day into night and night into day, but it's also about hope and the possibility that from the times of darkness, the day and the light will shine once again. We continue with the Shema. It's on page 34. Please rise.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael,
Please be seated. Page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם כראשים אלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Let's read on page 41 together. Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace.
מי כמוך נדר בקודש, תורת תהילות, אוסף אלה. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקי הים לפני משה ומרים. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקי הים לפני משה ומרים. ונאמר כי ברנאי את יעקב וגלו מיד חזק ממנו
Baruch atah Adonai Gal Yisrael. Yadadai, dai, 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 yadadai, dai, dai. Yadadai, dai, 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 yadadai, dai, dai. Yadadai, dai, 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 yadadai, dai, dai. Yadadai, dai, dai. Amen.
Page 42.
Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom Ve'hamidenu Malkeinu Malkeinu Lechaim Uferos aleinu sukat shalomecha takneinu Be'etza tova milvanecha Be'etza tova milvanecha Hoshienu leman shemecha leman shemecha Ve'yagein ba'adeinu ve'haser me'aleinu oyev dever ve'cherev ve'ra ve'yagon ve'cherev ve'rav V'rav, v'rav, v'yagon, v'yahazezatan milvaneinu, milvaneinu, u'me'achareinu, tasdireinu. Ki el zomreinu, u'matzilenu atah. Ki el melech chanun v'rachum, chanun v'rachum atah. U'shemor tzeiteinu vo'einu lechaim u'leshalom me'adam me'ad olam. U'feros aleinu sukat אתה אדוני.
Baruch Hu Baruch Shemo.
הפורש סוכת שלום, סוכת שלום עלינו. הפורש סוכת שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
וביום השביעי שבת וינפש.
שמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
We go from big cantorial to Vishamru, folksy. We got it all going on. El Narafana Laz on page 373. Sometimes we sing the Misha Berach, the traditional prayer for healing. Other times we sing this. The words were written in the Torah, Moses' words when his sister was stricken ill. He asked for her healing coming from the depths of his heart. And so as we say these words, this prayer, if there is someone close to you who is sick, let your heart speak to them, your heart wish them healing, your heart bring them strength, and think of them deeply as we sing together.
Refa'enu Adonai v'nerafei, Hoshenu v'ni v'sheyad, El karov lechol karab, ha'karov yiriav yishon. We pray for healing of the body. We pray
With those soft words of contemplation, we move to the personal part of our prayer when you can speak the words in your heart, recite the words in your heart, or read the words on the pages, either on the right, the traditional prayers, or on the left, the poetry. The Amidah begins on page 46 and continues through to page 62. We recite the prayer standing. When you're finished, you may be seated. Prayers for the United States and Israel are on page 258 and 59. Please join me at the bottom of the page. O guardian of life and liberty, may our nation always merit your protection. Teach us to give thanks for what we have by sharing it with those who are in need, keeping our eyes open to the wonder of creation and alert to the care of the earth. May we never be lazy in the work of peace. May we honor those who have died in defense of our ideals. Grant our leaders wisdom and forbearance. May they govern with justice and compassion. Help us all to appreciate one another and to respect the many ways that we may serve you. May our homes be safe from affliction and strife, and our country be sound in body and spirit. Amen.
שבשמיים, צור ישראל וגואלו, ברך את מדינת ישראל, ראשית צמיחת גאולתנו.
Join me. O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace, and send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and the fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen.
Avinu שבשמיים, צור ישראל וגואלו, אמן סלה, אמן סלה.
Ashley, who grew up here, brought her friend CJ, who's taking a class at LMU, to learn about Reform Judaism. And he asked me probably the most difficult question that one could ask a Reform rabbi: what are the tenets of Reform Judaism? It's easy to say what we're not, it's hard to say what we are. But one of the key features of what we are is perhaps one that we take most for granted. It's said that fish don't really know they're in water because it's all around them. We don't know that we're in a pluralistic society, or we don't perhaps recognize it for what it is because it's all around us and we take it for granted. We don't realize what it is to be a Jew in this world, where the essential question that we're wrestling with is, what does it mean to be a Jew in this world? What does it mean to be the inheritors of this ancient tradition, and at the same time be on the cusp of modernity, more than the cusp, I think we're pretty much in the middle of it all, and how to reconcile where sometimes there's a divergence, if you will, of values. So that's the core question. I was looking at the Amidah, the last prayer of the Amidah on page 62. It's a prayer for peace. And this prayer book is the latest prayer book of the Reform movement, and it does wrestle with that question of what does it mean to be a Jew? What does it mean to have this sense of community, of connection to each other, of really, right, uniqueness, and then at the same time have a sense of pluralism. So what the authors did in this latest version of the Reform movement's prayer book is to actually go all out with the Oseh Shalom, and they added the words Al Kol Yoshvei Tevel. So in this prayer for peace, that used to be prayer for peace for just the Jews, just Israel, they added all the inhabitants of the earth. And I provide that as a framing for what I'm going to share with you following, because we're wrestling with that question in big ways and in so many ways. So I want to introduce you to a word. The word is propinquity. Has anyone heard the word propinquity? I remember the first time I heard it. It was from a sociologist, because it's a sociologist's word. You probably will never spell it in Scrabble. I don't think you could possibly come up with those letters in a hand. But the speaker was talking about the Jewish community, and she said that what we, again, take for granted, likes tend to associate with likes. Propinquity. We are drawn to people who are closest to us and most like us. One's community or one's family. Even consider your relatives. Think about your least favorite relative and how often you end up spending time with that relative. That's propinquity, because it's family, right? We get together for holidays, we just do it. It's just part of what we do. A related word, which is also going to reappear in what I'm going to share with you, is consanguinity. They're both ITY words, consanguinity. The word sanguine is in the middle, blood. And that's about those who share our bloodlines. And what becomes a part of Jewish identity, you can send your chromosomes out for testing to 23andMe, and they'll tell you that you're, as they told my son, you're 98% Ashkenazi Jewish, right? Well, Jewish isn't a genotype. It's not a chromosome type. It's an identity, but it becomes a way that we recognize other Jews. If you're Ashkenazi or Sephardic or Persian Jewish, you recognize Jews by, on some level, the bloodlines. And we feel an affinity with those, and what we say spiritually is that people who convert to Judaism magically assume the sanguineness, if you will, of the Jewish people. And you know that feeling of discovering someone who you find out is related to you and you didn't know it, whether it's the old-fashioned way through family networks or the new way because you send it off to some chromosome matching service and they tell you you have a relative living in Idaho somewhere. I had an example, a situation like that in my own life, about 20 years ago. 50 years ago, my cousin and I saw each other for the last time. Our fathers had a falling out, and over that span, we honestly just fell off my radar, that relationship that we had. And I almost forgot he existed, to be honest, even though we were close as young children. 20 years ago, he walked into my office at Wise, pushing his son in a stroller, because my uncle had reconnected us. And since that time, we've not only been aware of our consanguinity, but we've actually become close friends. In fact, he's my favorite contractor in my house. I have his name and number if you want to call him. So we discovered that our propinquity, that we're living in the same city, and we rediscovered our consanguinity, that we had bloodlines in connection. And those two features make it easier for us to relate to people, to have compassion for people, to extend a hand to people and to others. And they drive us ultimately to sustain our families and to form the communities that we form. And in the ancient society and in some primitive societies, to create tribes. Today, we create nations out of that sense of affinity that we feel. So when the Torah says, "You shall not oppress a stranger, for you know the feelings, the soul, the insides, the essence of a stranger, having yourselves been strangers in the land of Egypt," it's counterintuitive to our humanness, because if propinquity and consanguinity are what draws us together, the notion that we should embrace a stranger and treat them like one of our own and know their hearts and feeling, well, it almost necessitates a rewiring of the brain, because we don't work that way as human beings. The Torah asks us to physically deconstruct ourselves so that we can bring in a notion that's strange and foreign. And let's take it a step even farther, because the Torah does. In Leviticus it says, "The stranger who resides with you shall be as one of your citizens. You shall love him as yourself. For you were strangers in the land of Egypt. I am the Lord your God." Love the stranger as yourself. So now you not only have to know the feelings of the stranger, someone completely unrelated to you, outside your tribe, perhaps speaking a foreign language, perhaps a different skin color, but you have to love them as yourself, says the Torah. That's astounding. And that it comes from a book written thousands and thousands of years ago is deeply profound and transformative. You want me to be compassionate for the stranger? I can muster that. You want me to empathize for the strangers? I could probably manage that too. The Torah says, not enough. I have to love them as myself. How do I do that? I don't even know if I have the tools, the capacity to love another person as myself. Think for a minute about the implications of that. 2,000-year-old words come from Rabbi Hillel, who said, "If I am not for myself, who will be for me?" So Hillel basically acknowledges that first and foremost, we have to love ourselves. First and foremost, we have to be for ourselves. First and foremost, we have to preserve, protect, advocate, value, and even, yes, Cantor lamb, even indulge ourselves now and again with good food and all the things that you love. But then Hillel goes on, again, inspired perhaps by the words of Torah that I shared, because he knew them. He says, "But if I'm only for myself, what am I? Who am I?" So while it makes sense to have I come first, if it's all about me and mine, well, then I'm missing a core component of what it means to be a Jew. And then the tradition adds this other layer on top of everything, and this is why this is a pre-Passover message. It's never too early to get ready for Passover. Because the tradition says it's all about Egypt. It's all about that collective memory that becomes a part of who we are, this memory of the experience of slavery in Egypt, of liberation, of redemption, of crossing the Red Sea, of moving to freedom. And it's so built into the Jewish psyche that it's because it's cemented by centuries of prayer. The Micha Mocha is a remembrance. The Shabbat Kiddush that we're going to do at the end of the service invokes the memory of Egypt. It's built in. We tell stories. We have holidays that speak to us about Egypt. It's impossible to separate yourself as a Jew from that memory. Scholars may doubt the details of the story of Egyptian slavery, but as a Jew, you don't doubt the meaning ever, because you can't escape it. It's not only at the center of Passover, it's the reason for Shabbat, it's our core narrative. So because of Egypt, we were strangers. Because we were strangers, we know the heart of a stranger. Our tradition says, reject those basic human instincts or inclinations to exercise propinquity and to seize on consanguinity, and treat strangers like they're your relatives. I thought of these ideas when news broke about the massacre of the attendees of the two mosques in New Zealand. I thought about these words when I read about the tragic deaths from the cyclone in Mozambique. In a world of the concentric circles that we live in, those people are pretty far outside of our circle of propinquity. The Muslims in New Zealand, Muslims and Christians and animists in Mozambique, we don't speak their language, we don't share a religion, they're religiously, they're culturally, they're geographically as far away from us as possible. And yet the words of Torah, of Jewish tradition, of Jewish storytelling, of Jewish history are inside of me. There are a few people who are more strangers than the victims of those two natural and human-made atrocities and calamities. And yet, they're the words of Torah that we have. There's this compulsion in Jewish tradition. There's the story that shapes who I am. There's the command to love the stranger as myself, to know that stranger's heart. And so, because of tradition, I will myself, I compel myself, I constrain myself against the very tendencies that would push me in the other direction, to rise above my instincts, to extend beyond the wiring of my brain and recognize that those dead are my brothers, my sisters, my cousins, my kin. And that because of their deaths, my world sheds tears of sorrow. Naomi Levy wrote a poem after the murders in Christchurch, but I think it also speaks about compassion for those who are suffering in Mozambique as well. So I give it to you as something you might add to your Passover Seder. It's inside the Shabbat Bulletin. And it's open for interpretation, but it adds a layer of meaning to what it is to tell the story of Egypt, what it is to remember Egypt. So if you'd like to read it with me, if not, I'll read it to you. If you want to hear it first before you're going to read it, that's okay too. I understand. I don't want to pull you into something you may not agree with. But here it is. It appeared in the Jewish Journal. It was sent out by the Federation. It was sent out throughout the Jewish community directly after the killings in Christchurch. A prayer for the victims. We are devastated, God. Our hearts are breaking. In this time of shock and mourning, the loss is overwhelming. Send comfort and strength, God, to grieving family members. Send healing to the injured. Send strength and wisdom to their doctors and nurses. Bless the courageous police officers who risk their lives to protect innocent lives. Shield us from despair, God. Ease our pain. Let our fears give way to hope. Lead us to join together as a nation to put an end to anti-Semitism, an end to hatred, an end to gun violence. Teach us, God, to honor the souls we have lost by raising our hands and voices together in the cause of peace, because Torah is the tree of life and all its paths are peaceful. Work through us, God. Turn our helplessness into action. Teach us to believe that we can rise up from this tragedy and banish the hate that is tearing our world apart. We must never be indifferent to the plight of any who suffer. We must learn to care, to open our hearts and open our hands. Innocent blood is calling out to us. God of the brokenhearted, God of the living, God of the dead, gather the souls of the victims into your eternal shelter. Let them find peace in your presence, God. Their lives have ended, but their lights can never be extinguished. May they shine on us always and illumine our way. Amen. And so may it be. Amen. I saw Ethan Saba slip in. Come on up. You're our bar mitzvah tomorrow. So I want to welcome you on the bima. We're going to do Kiddush. It is on page 5 in your Sidurim. Please rise.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav ורצבנו בשבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו זיכרון למעשה וראשית כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש זכר ליציאת מצרים כי בנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים בשבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
The Aleinu is on page 282 in the middle of the page.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת בכלל יוצא וראשית, שלא אסרתם יחצות, ולא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא סמכנו בהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. אנחנו בוראים ומשתחווים ובונים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא, 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 יהיה אדוני אחד. ביום ההוא, 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 יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
So the most important thing you have to do is read the first page of the Shabbat Bulletin because they're wise words written by our favorite Cantor
Well, thank you. Thank you.
about the Torah portion, Tzav. And you can do that later or this week, it's okay too.
We're every day.
Or every day, twice a day. I just gave you that one, didn't I? We, as a community, people who have joined together in prayer, have sung, have learned, have studied, have reflected, we also bring each other support, the support that comes from our presence and our sense of comfort that this place brings to us. It's called a sanctuary in English because it provides our souls with sanctuary. It's okay, they're not my glasses. Whitney, are they yours? Yeah. Page 294. If you're in the first 30 days of mourning for a loved one, would you please rise? If you're in the first year of mourning for a loved one, would you please rise? If you're observing the anniversary of the death of a loved one in the yard site, please rise. And now we all stand beside you as you recite these words of remembrance and mourning and comfort. Page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbi. B'amad yivarach utei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon v'yamechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. B'agala uv'izman kariv imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbi mivarach le'alam u'la'almei al-maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitale v'yitalal shmei l'kudusha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiran be'ama v'imru amen. Yehei shlama Rabba min shamaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom v'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to all Israel, to all the world, to which we say, Amen. Adon Olam, is that what we're doing, Adon Olam?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Adon Olam. It is on page, what page is it on?
321.
321.
Want to thank Jeff Stern, our wonderful drummer, who's with us every week. David Cates, Maestro Cates. I love David. He makes our services so great. Whitney, thank you for your contribution this evening's services. Thank you for your beautiful words, Torah, and Adon Olam, page 321.
Adon Olam Asher Malach Beterem Kol Yetzir Nivra Leit Nasa V'chepzot Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'acharei Kichelot Hakol Levado Imelot Nora Ve'oya Ve'u Oveh Ve'hu Yeh B'tifarav Adon Olam Asher Malach Beterem Kol Yetzir Nivra Leit Nasa V'chepzot Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Ve'hu Echad Ve'ye'ein Sheni Lehamshilo Le'achbira Ve'hu Eli Ve'chai Go'ali Tzurchem Li Be'etzara Adon Olam Asher Malach Beterem Kol Yetzir Nivra Leit Nasa V'chepzot Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Hamotzi lechem min haaretz.
Shabbat Shalom. Enjoy some challah. Make sure you introduce yourself to someone
Introduce
you
yourself.
haven't met.